Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 93rd edition here in the Issues Room. We told you tonight conversation will be very, very interesting. However, we have two important issues also to complement our central theme for tonight. We'll be briefly discussing the rice issue and the issue in Busan. In the meantime, we'd like to welcome you, our viewers, wherever you are, all over the world, to our 93rd edition here in the Issues Room. I'm in Volcano, Shelton. As you can see, I'm flanked by two of my colleagues. Uh, Mr. Moses Sandy and Mr. Ansu Oedwalu. Both are from, one is in Newcastle, the other is on the outskirts of Boston. Am I right? You're muted again, bro.
I did it intentionally. I just want you to talk. Yes, you're
Yeah,
absolutely right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, welcome to this edition. We want to encourage all of our viewers. We have two people right now joining us. Please share the link. Please share the word. Usually, sometimes the way Facebook works, sometimes you think that you have less people, but then when you go at the end of the show, you see the numbers way up there. So I don't really not worry about the numbers. What I worry
Yeah, the
about
number is going to grow.
is
Yeah.
actually the conversation and how the conversation is kept. You know, with informed, information brought forth. The conversation is critical. The conversation has meat, and we also encourage the viewers to come in. Godwin Weado, good to have you back. It's been a while, so welcome to this 93rd, gentlemen. Let me just say welcome.
Thank you, Volcano.
All right, listen. Uh, our key conversation tonight is on the Honorable Representative of District Number 10 in Montserrat County, Mr. Yeke Koluba, and we will come to him down the stretch. Emmanuel Jackson, welcome. We'll come to him down the stretch. And honestly, it's going to be a good conversation. We'll open the lines, give people the opportunity to weigh in. All right. But Moses, I was reading something on the issue in Busan. You and I had some arguments, I would call it, for the first time. We
No,
were
we had a
arguing.
discussion
No,
behind
no,
the
no, but yeah,
scene.
we're arguing. I'm not going to sit there and pretend. So Ansu, um, I looked at what was put on social media this morning. The lady who flew from Japan to go and check up with those guys and see the state of condition, and she was representing the Liberian government. Um, she said that it didn't look good the way the guys were treated. One of the guys they didn't want to speak about the issue. He felt that he was exempt as a result of diplomatic immunity. The other guy who also had, I believe, an official passport. So I think there's a difference between diplomatic passport, official passport, and ordinary passport. Because I
Yeah.
remember that I have flown on an official passport when I worked for LBS, and I was going to, another country for training. So my passport was official because I was probably an employee of the
Representing it.
government, but
Yeah.
I was not a diplomat. So that's the issue there. But so she said that they had to argue over how they brought them shackled like slaves with handcuffs and chain around their foot, and she said it was not a fair treatment for these guys. It's understood that they are alleged to have raped accordingly, but it didn't warrant them to be treated that way. So after several back and forth, the police or the Busan police force decided that they would yield, they just took them in handcuff. And in the process, the other guy who traveled on the official passport, I believe the name is Moses, I was able to give her $1,500 to give to his wife, if she were able to get that money back to Liberia to him. And the part that I picked up on this, here
Let me
we
correct this.
okay,
He's Moses Owen. I don't want people taking me for him. I'm not a rapist. I'm not an alleged rapist.
Okay. All right. Not this Moses Sandy.
No.
All right. So anyway, so the guy, and when Moses and I talked, I did reference um the Britney lady from the WNBA who is currently in Russia on drug charges. You see how much America is fighting for her redemption. Look at what the Liberian government has done. People have thrown these guys under the bus
Yeah, on the
already
ruling out.
on
Yeah.
an alleged case. How pathetic is this for our country government and agencies who should be probing in depth, sending a strong team to advocate a release and get to the bottom of it. We're not saying that uh, rape is not wrong, but how many foreigners haven't come to Liberia and done these things and they get away because of the corrupt justice system rather we have, and the corrupt police force we have. Similar case for Princess Copper today. They declare her to die of TB when she was allegedly in the company of Lebanese, where she had gone to do an escort service for. And in the process, she met her death. I'm thinking about uh, how can we throw these guys out there and just leave them to the wolves? Gentlemen, it could be any one of us.
Yeah. I would say that, in the absence of adequate information on the situation, I would say that when an individual is accused of a crime legally, the person is presumed innocent until proven guilty, right? That's how
And
it
let me
works
add
in the
this
legal
in. Let me
profession.
add this
Yeah.
in just before you
Hmm.
go because it came to mind. Here we
Yeah.
have a foreign minister who is alleged on sexual harassment and still serving. But
Hmm.
these guys have not been taken to trial, they've not been booked. It's only alleged. And here you have a gender minister condemning them already, the maritime boss and the maritime agency for which they work condemning them already. You tell me
Yeah.
now. That's what I wanted to lay out there, Moses. Tell
No,
me,
I mean,
are we not fair to ourselves as a people? Why we
yeah.
do this to ourselves, man?
And let me just make this disclaimer. We are not in any way trying to
Oh, am I
justify the act
justify
of
rape?
rape, or rape. That is not what we're doing. We are saying that if these people were there representing the government of Liberia, they were accused of a crime, then I think as a responsible government, you get involved in the process. You send your legal experts from the Ministry of Justice, make international representation or through your diplomatic missions to make sure that they get fair treatment. If they are found guilty, we will stand with you in holding them accountable because it's a serious offense. But like you said, Volcano, while the trial is going on, the government has indirectly, concluded that these guys are guilty. Because if the gender minister comes and say, "Well, I want you, Mr. President, to terminate these people immediately," it means that she stands with the Korean on this matter.
Yeah,
The Maritime Authority has also condemned the act, and these are people that went to represent the Republic of Liberia. I know Moses, based on media report, Moses Owen, there's this allegation that he has a history of rape. Okay, what the situation is, all we're saying here is that they should be given their days in court and they should be presumed innocent until
until
proven
then.
guilty. The
Yeah,
government should
absolutely.
give them all support to make sure that they get fair treatment. I agree with you, Volcano. I don't know, Ansu, what do you think?
Well, and before I start any show, I always love to recognize my young people in the country. We can't forget about them. And as I always say to them, they have to get involved. If they don't get involved, the direction of their country will be decided for them. I want to say this. These are Liberian government officials. So Just from the basis of that, the state has a fiduciary responsibility to them, irrespective of what crimes they commit. But before I even get to the crux of that, I'm going to say this. A Liberian citizen's value will be determined to the extent that I value Shelton's value and Moses' value, irrespective of what position he holds. If we don't value ourselves, we are always going to be devalued by everybody else. So we always subjugate our own interest to that of the foreigners in our own country. More or less, what you think is going to happen to us over there. I spent a lot of time in South Korea and Japan. I lived there for 2 years. I used to be a U.S. Marine. 1998, 1999, we used to be out there. And I'm not saying this to put down the Koreans or the Japanese or most of Southeast Asia. The issue of prostitution, even though it's illegal in South Korea, it's still illegal. In Japan, it's legal, but it's controlled in a special way. So it's a legal specialization. So they have the red light districts all over Seoul. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. So prostitution is not legal in Seoul, but the police don't really enforce the laws pertaining to it. In many instances, unless something major happens. I know this for a fact because I've been to Seoul several times. In fact, my 21st birthday was actually spent in Japan, and that weekend we flew into Seoul and to have a great celebration out there. And most of it were a bunch of 19, 20-year-old kids. We went out there. The point I'm trying to make is there's a degree of seriousness being attached to this for a simple reason. They found somebody who's extremely vulnerable, and they are going to so-called enforce the laws on these guys, especially when our government is not protecting them. Look, I want to say this before I give it to Shelton. Every time a Liberian diplomat is not protected, despite the crime he commits, it diminishes the value of every other diplomat around the world directly because we are not protecting us. The reason why you see these foreign government, I mean, we were out there, we were U.S. Marine. In fact, we couldn't even be touched so easily. I know of thousands of cases where Marines would do some of the most vile things. I mean, there are instances where a Marine got a girl, tied her to a bed for an entire week, and did so many things to her. The Marine walked because the American government would not even budge. They said, listen, we will try this Marine, not even you. This is not a diplomat. This is just a regular Marine. We have to protect them until we understand the details of this. The issue of prostitution in South Korea is everywhere. Don't take my word for it. Google, look on these pages. Now, I am not saying if they went after these girls that are underage, they should not be prosecuted. This is not what I'm suggesting. But what I'm saying is they cannot be prosecuted with vengeance as though they've done something that is not commonplace in Korea to begin with. But what angers me is the way our government is going about this case. And if our government don't protect these guys, they will die in jail because they're going to be hammered so badly in the Korean jail. Because first of all, let me say this: in these Asian countries, they hate you to begin with. They don't even want you around.
Black, and I wanted
Yes,
to make that point.
I don't
Black,
want to use the race thing, but they hate
no,
you.
no,
They don't
it's
want you there.
obvious. It's
It's
obvious.
obvious. So just think about you going to jail on the crime of raping one of their own. You will get abused. In fact, those boys might even commit suicide in our prison. So they hate you. It is only when they come to our country to do whatever they want. This is why I say every day, don't ever allow somebody like Eduardo to become president in Liberia. I'm not going to wish on anybody. But the Liberian citizen going to sit so far above anybody else. I don't care where you're coming from. To the point where you're going to feel, say, I'm alienating foreigners. They don't care about you in this location. And before I give it to you, I'm going to share something in Japan. In Japan, if you are a foreigner and let's say you get into a car accident, a simple crime as a car accident, you are 30% wrong before you go to the court.
Oh wow!
It's almost like a law. So
So
the only option you
they
got,
already
yes,
presume that you are guilty before even
because the
going for.
argument is you're not supposed to be there to begin with.
Oh wow!
So every time we did something, the first thing we did, we ran back into base because we know if we on the American base, you can't get us. Not that
Okay.
we were doing anything bad. I remember we
Yeah,
used
bro.
to race car downtown Okinawa. We would take the car on the thoroughfare. I mean, when you're 19, you're stupid. I mean, that's something I would do now as a grown,
Yeah.
almost 46-year-old man. But we would go 100 miles an hour, and
Damn.
the police would try to get us, and we would just run into base. And
Yeah,
now
and that
you
would
have
be
to
it.
go to the U.S. consulate to make their report, and then the next morning they will call us. They never bothered. It will almost always waived because if you're going to come after me, there's so much legal crap you have to go through. It's not worth it. and we throw our people on the bus every single time. I'll give it to you guys, man.
And that's what I said. Look at what America is doing to get Brittany, the basketball,
Hmm.
female basketball player from the WNBA,
Yep.
trying to even swap prisoners.
Yeah.
You understand me? That's how powerful you must treat your citizen, even
Yes.
irrespective of the circumstance.
Thank
Look
you.
at a Lebanese came to Liberia
Oh,
on the swallowing of a candy by his store boy.
shucks.
Okay, choke him and kill him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing
In
came
our
out of it.
country.
In the country. Why are Liberians so wicked to themselves? Why do they treat themselves as lesser? Because the ones in power always take the bribe and enjoy it. Nobody's saying here. Let me be practically honest, and I shared this with Moses when we were having a conversation.
Yeah.
These guys went out. Everybody met these girls in the lobby area or standing around the hotel, like you said, is pervasive.
It's very common.
Yeah. Hey,
Extremely
how
common.
you guys doing tonight?
Yeah.
And they're speaking the broken English or maybe
Yeah.
better English. And it's okay, but come up to
Speak
our
good
room.
English. They
And they
speak good
come to the
English.
room, right? And I'm just making just have a
That's
Yeah.
how it works.
Yeah,
That's how it works.
we
and
got
then
it. Mhm.
these hotel attendants see it and they say, whoa, 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 because these guys are black, and bam, then they call the police. And the way the police and the hotel attendants came to this room, it shocked everyone, including the girls. So they started to, make up stories and say that
Hey,
they were
it's
underage.
orchestrated. It was
Yeah,
orchestrated.
it was orchestrated. And so for the Liberian government to look into this further, making sure that they have a solid representation.
Correct.
And if the people can even in their own country, the justice system say the government you wrong the person, restitute, do this, they fail
And
to
no
do it.
one pays
How much more they
attention.
will do for their own when they send them to foreign country. But I just thought to look at this because we can come back to this conversation
Yeah.
as this case, go to trial
Continues,
and
yeah.
let's see what happens. But I just
Yeah.
thought that the Liberian government didn't do well by quickly coming up and condemning these guys. We understand rape now is a global phenomenon. It
Yeah.
needs to be addressed in a strong term. But people being in the room, probably they didn't even have sex, but just being in the room. But to just claim that they rape these girls, when you talk rape, you take somebody off the street who follow you willingly go to your room on a basis of exchange of cash for
A
intimacy,
favor, sexual
you know
favor.
so it's people shouldn't just run with this and start to prosecute these guys and kill them, for what has happened. When you have, again, I remind you, a
Yeah.
foreign minister with similar situation but still serving, nobody condemned him, nobody said that this foreign minister should resign. The same
Mhm.
thing Moses said, I will always cherry picking on
Yeah.
how we manage the situation. So I
Okay,
just
just to
thought,
give it
yeah, go
to give
ahead.
it a motive, I want to add this
No,
this
go
one
ahead.
sentence in there. The extent to which they're going to prosecute kill these guys will depend on whether how serious or how much the Liberian government allows it. If the Liberian government push back very aggressively, they will take these guys and to put them back to Liberia. Because the crime is not very serious. I'm not trying to lessen
To
the
just
crime,
yeah.
the supposed crime they committed. But the issue of prostitution in Korea, in Japan. Look, if you see Rush Hour, you see in Rush Hour where Chris Tucker goes to a room and there's this girl sitting down, and you see I would take number one, number five, number four, and let that all over from the Philippines to all these places, the Asian country. In fact, they don't in Japan. There's this thing in Japan. If I'm married to a woman and I'm taking care of the home, what I do also as a man is not to be questioned. In
Oh
fact, my
wow.
Japanese girlfriend, sometimes I will come home, she would come on the base, and I was like, okay, the girl be vetted. Though. But when you come there, she said, no, Insu, I'm not allowed to get mad at you because it's not appropriate. A woman should, it's a different kind of culture.
Wow.
And
The
then
women are,
Completely male.
yes,
It's male dominated.
Moses, Moses,
it's
Moses,
extremely,
Moses, she
it's a
gave him a
masculine,
master
yeah,
also. Master, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not going to get vexed. Now listen, but you see what look at what Thomas is saying here. Thomas is saying here the Liberian government doesn't have the power to do anything. The
I
young
agree.
women and men are held in slavery in
Yeah,
Oman.
yeah, I
In
agree.
Oman.
I agree. But you know what I want to say to my brother Thomas is this. It appears as though we have no power to do anything, but if we organize better, we can increase our clout internationally to be able to help our citizens. But we have neglected that responsibility. That's why we cannot do anything. That's the only reason why. But we're a sovereign country. understand we can do something. We on all every international, what you call it, boards and all the international organizations. We are part of them. We can leverage these positions. But those guys, I feel sorry for them. They should know where they are and the kind of government they're representing. And with that in mind, certain things you understand you can't be doing it because nobody will be there to protect you.
No, but
That was a big mistake. So Moses,
as
like to do
as
the right thing
yeah,
when you take
quickly
30
as we
seconds to
always
close it.
do,
Yeah.
right? The government has already, quote unquote, thrown the people under the bus for the fact that they have been condemned by senior officials of the government and even calling for dismissal. So what the message the gender ministers send out is that we don't care about you.
Exactly.
We're going to let you handle
Without
this
any
on your own.
investigation whatsoever.
Yeah, we will dismiss you, and then you have to deal with this on your own. And I
But
think the
there are
government
many
was just too
cases
hasty
in the very
about that one.
office of the minister that she's
Yeah.
not addressing. There are little
Yes.
babies being tear open with razor blade across the country. She's not
Hmm.
addressing those.
No.
Without even understanding the details of what happened in Korea. Now, I want to make that clear. We are not defending rape on any
No,
circumstance.
we're
Oh no,
not.
What we are
absolutely
saying
not.
is the protection of Liberian citizens should surpass any other citizen in the world.
Absolutely.
This is why we
Absolutely.
exist as a country.
Yeah.
But we don't see it that way. Shelton's value is attached to my value. But we don't see it that way. Like Dwalu baby man, that man went to Korea and started raping the butcher and all that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
From my end, the trending news, I would just like for us to further, discuss the current situation of rice shortage on the Liberian market. Volcano, last week we were here, we talked about this. The situation is completely out of control. The situation has exacerbated. If you watch video clippings from Monrovia, you see the struggle our people are going through, and the government seems not to be doing anything. Today, the Ministry of Commerce issued a press statement claiming that there's rice on the market. The ministry, reiterated the same statement that President George Weah made. But if we have sufficient rice on the market, then why can't the people find it? I've watched several video clippings from Monrovia. I heard some Liberians saying that right now a bag of 25 pounds bag of rice in Monrovia, that George Weah referred to as Miami in West Africa, uh it's now more than 20 US dollars. The ordinary Liberians that buy a
No, the
cup of
rice
rice.
it's at $5,500 now, and the cup of rice is about $150 a cup.
Yeah,
So
it's between
$30 per bag.
120 to 150 Liberian dollars.
Yep.
And yet the Ministry of Commerce come to say, hey, we have sufficient rice on the market.
Correct.
I mean, what is going on here? They issue a statement that was completely vague, said nothing about the situation.
Intentionally vague.
Intentionally. I
Yeah.
read the press statement. I couldn't understand what the Ministry of Commerce, the message the Ministry of Commerce was trying to convey. It tells you how terrible the issue of communication is in Liberia. You issue a major statement
It's not.
and
It's
you
not.
just,
Moses.
it's unfortunate.
You found a fine euphemistic way to say this. Look, it's a
Yeah.
total disrespect to the to the Liberian people.
Mhm.
With that total disregard, at its height of a national crisis, you're taking deputies within a so-called ministry to come and
Mhm.
address the people. You won't even take questions.
Yeah.
I don't know if
No.
you guys saw. They won't even take questions. Look, how disrespectful! This
Yeah.
is should be the number one at the
The
information ministry,
minister,
or number one,
the
even the
minister, yeah.
president,
The
to
minister,
address
yeah.
the country on this issue
Yeah.
and take some and questions from the press. This is total disrespect to the people.
But
Total disrespect to the people.
Dwalu, and I didn't want to jump in, but I'll jump in.
Go
Here's a
ahead,
man
yeah.
go to his fucking clone church, stands on that so-called unreligious pulpit, and start to defend the fact that he claims Monrovia is like Miami because people can jog around rehab in the night. What are they jogging with in the night? CCTV on the head to see who's gonna come behind them to hit them with a hammer when we come
Yeah.
into elections and people are being killed every day and body parts missing. Listen, The Liberian people, I was in a company and the president said the Liberian people wanted to experiment. The experimentation went wrong.
Very wrongly.
You know how you know a scientist go in the lab and he's done all his calculation and think that the outcome
All
going to
this
be
theory and finally,
phenomenal,
yeah,
and here everything explodes. That's how you have a mutation, and now you got to deal with this and whatever that
I love
uh
that. I love
guinea
that.
pig or whatever
Yeah,
you were using turn
it's
into some
loose.
monster and it
Yeah,
goes loose. And here we got to deal with zombies and a pandemic.
yeah,
Yeah,
Liberia
and
has a zombie, and they made a song. They made a song.
yeah.
So liken it to that. Liberia has a zombie. And to be honest with you, when the president missed the glorious opportunity, I said in leadership, you must use crisis to bounce back.
Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
what I studied. That's what I've
That's
done all my life.
yes,
You use
yes.
crisis to bounce back. And this, when God puts opportunity before you, is how you utilize the opportunity. You either squander it or you make good of it. And this president has made nothing good of all of the opportunities for him to regain his prowess as a leader. And that's why when we come to this conversation tonight with Yeke Koluba, you're going to see where some of the things that this president has missed. And to
But yeah,
come
but Shelton, yes, yes,
and
one
play around.
conclusion. Yes,
Yeah.
one conclusion you're reaching without considering this. You use crisis to bounce back. There are foundation and preparedness to give you the capability to be able to bounce back. President Weah lacks that. So he cannot bounce back. He does not have that foundation and preparedness. But I want to say this to President Weah as a news flash. Those people you see running on rehab row, they are not jogging. They are running to catch testing so they can get home before somebody robs them. They are not jogging. They are running to get home before it gets too dark. They are not jogging. Nobody in Liberia goes jogging when they can barely find food to eat. Mr. President, you might see a few guys go and play soccer in the daytime, but they are not jogging. They are running to catch a taxi. They are running to get home.
And you know why the jogging in the rehab era? Because he's the president, he lives there. And look,
Correct.
like you said, they're around the street lights
yeah,
off.
the
Correct.
guy,
Correct.
yeah, the guys on the solar system,
Yeah,
you know,
so that's why they're able to
and
jog around it.
let me just wrap it up. Since you guys
Yeah, so
talking about
let's wrap it up.
leadership,
We got
yeah,
two
right?
more minutes
Let,
to wrap it up
yeah,
and get
let me
on.
just wrap it up. All of what you guys said, uh, Liberia's eminent human rights advocate and defender, Kofi Woods. Volcano, you and I were there in Worcester, Massachusetts. He summed up the political situation, the state of affairs in Liberia as Liberia being in a peril. The leadership deficit, according to Kofi, is so high that you have people in government that have no clue in terms of what is happening around them. And that's what George Weah represents.
Mm.
The Minister of Commerce represents that. The Minister of Information represents that. The Minister of Finance represents that. You have a situation like that, Mr. Weah, like you said, Volcano. This is the time you speak to the nation. You tell the people, look, let's take this at the level of the family. Like we're talking earlier, Ansu. You say, hey, guys, look, children, right now we are faced with challenges. I know times are tough, but we shall surely prevail. Be
Reassurance.
honest with your people, tell them the truth, and find solution to the problem. You don't keep lying to the people, keep lying to the people. He arrived in the country, he told the people that what? Liberia has what? Sufficient rice on the market. But yet the people can't find the rice. And you got a minister of commerce that doesn't speak to the media as well.
And she repeated that lie
What's going
today
on?
again. She repeated the lie that there is enough rice in the country still.
Yeah. So where's the rice?
But he meant for getting to know what happened since 42 years ago, what
No,
Rice
no,
did
no.
for
No
Liberia.
read history. No,
You
we don't know
know,
that.
it's unfortunate that they're not thinking. But I'll give Eddie Johnson Sirleaf the credit. I believe at one time she was very clear that this next term it will not be easy, right? She was very
Yeah.
clear. She made it clear, made it known that it was going to be tough, emerging out of the Ebola, and people needed to strap their belts, that
Yeah,
times were going to be hard. Um,
times are hard.
but George Weah think that he can come and polish things. Let him go make one song about the rest now. Your man Prophet Key already made a little snippet for him. Um, and it's all on the internet. But gentlemen, listen, I've been trying to find a way here to bring this through, but I'm not sure what's happening tonight.
Okay.
To play excerpts from Yeke Koluba, but it doesn't seem as though we'll be able to. But the issue with Yeke Koluba, gentlemen, it's not new. It's not a new phenomenon. Everyone on this platform, everyone watching tonight, thousands and thousands, if not millions of Liberians are aware of who Yeke Koluba is. Um, and even foreigners know the name Yeke Koluba. He's made name for himself in these last 5 years as a sitting representative of District Number 10, Monserrato County, who is, I believe, aligned to no party at the time. He was more of an independent. I believe he came to the position as that. He's currently aligned with the CPP, but
And
preferably
through
leaning.
the ANC.
I was going there,
Oh,
preferably
sorry.
leaning in the
Yeah.
ANC's direction.
Mhm.
Um, so he has been very, very vocal about President Weah, how President Weah is running the country. Not just President Weah, but the Speaker of the House. He's talked about some of his colleagues, but he's generally on CDC and those people who he claimed to bring the death off to him. I just decided to throw that in. So lately he's like going mad now. Going mad. There are two recent videos of
So,
him, and go ahead.
Volcano, I just wanted to help you. We may not bring his video,
I'm trying, yeah,
but
I'm still trying
if
to
I
find it.
can just play the audio for people to
Okay.
at least have a snippet
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
things
I
that he
was just
said.
trying to really
Yeah.
get this stuff. I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on here. Go ahead.
SSS 17
Do you hear him?
to use as a police officer to raid drugs from the country. And still I'm a police this. I will wear anytime. And I said, we are the drum you have started to beat. We are calling on the international community, ECOWAS. We are calling on the Liberal Council of Churches. We are calling on the Liberal Bar Association. We are calling on the leadership of this country, the Chief Justice, the potent, and the remote control Speaker of the House.
All right, let me
Whatsoever
play. Let me
ambassador
play.
we are
Let me
ready
play
for.
the audio. Let me play the
I'm
audio from
getting
through the
prepared for it
speaker
because
here.
you
All
people are
right.
Okay.
sitting here.
Yeah,
I got
go
you.
ahead.
Just end
Okay,
that.
you go ahead.
That audio was very clear, though.
Yeah, but
Okay. Yeah,
let me
let him
get
go
play
ahead.
it from here.
Yeah.
Former President Charles Taylor, when he instructed me to raid drugs in the country and gave me SSS 17 to use as a police officer to raid drugs from the country. And I still come and pull up with this. I will wear anytime. Ambassador, we are the drum you have started to beat. We are calling on the international community, ECOWAS. We are calling on the Liberal Council of Churches. We are calling on the Liberal Bar Association. We are calling on the leadership of this country, the Chief Justice, the potent, and the remote control Speaker of the House. Whatsoever, Ambassador, we are ready for. I'm getting prepared for it because you people are sitting here and will be harassed. They are training people to kill us. This is the evidence. I got enough evidence here. I will share with you people, the press people, so you can put it on your page, so that the people can see the certificate and everything. This is the first time I passed through the ring and found the police academy. This is the first time to hear that people went to take training and to 10-day training they get a certificate to hold firearm. Right now, when you check in the country, rest is $150 liberty for copper rest. Last night, people did not eat, they went to bed. Ambassador, we are not thinking about it. And I want to throw this as a challenge to all of you people. I challenged Ambassador William one time. I told him, if you can show me receipt that you took 10,000 US from your account. I remember 2018, I will resign as representative. Ambassador William, I want to challenge you. Call the press people. I have never heard in my life, maybe you people are holding for Ambassador William to say that my power grave here, or this is my father. And anybody that do not have a father is a bastard. I want you running the country the way you feel like. Because you're a pastor, you're a foreigner, you do not have a father in a place. Ambassador, we are challenging today. To show me, yeah, somebody will say, my father will bury him to Lofa. I can tell you where my father died. If your father still living, show all who your father is. LeBron Paul, you tell me when last Ambassador Weir said, this is my father's grave, or this is my father. He will say, June Dopo la Mapa. When you get ready to say, Bobo Chimo la Mapa, you get ready to say, Tomo Father la Mapa. You need to show all who your father is. It's because you don't have parents in their country. You're not a Liberian. That's why you are carrying the country the way you feel like. Rest basically how, when last have you gone to the port to find out unrest situation in the country? But because your government is a sex government, the only thing the government can do in your only thing can do in your government to have sex with your officials. Like Morba Molu said. Another one I say, you know, why did they ask Morba Molu? Why when Morba Molu said you didn't go and ask Morba Molu? But you know what? Anywhere I'm attacked, I will defend myself. It's very, very serious this time around. We've been taking it for a joke, but I got evidence. I'm going to read the Justice Minister tomorrow. The document is going to remind him that these people were arrested because of criminal act and were prosecuted and placed behind bar. Today, these people have been found at the police academy. After my 2 communications go tomorrow, I will have a press conference to get my way forward on the Justice Ministry and the security sector in this country. I will give the people this particular documents for you people. They want my communication with the Justice Ministry. I'll put all my evidence there, saying they are using the police academy now to recruit malicious. Mr. Defense Minister, you sat down in a place when criminals call themselves former generals. Asked me to report myself. What did you say? You better slow down on the brigade business before I insult you. I will tell you something that you don't want to hear. Our left have been harassed. When we went to a grand jury, my political leader and myself, when we were harassed, did you say the president will give you executive order? Sorry, my bulletproof vest is very heavy. It's the original one. Did you ask the president to give you executive order? Oh, but because we form brigade, right? And that brigade will not be dissolved. Let me tell you, you can get your executive order for help and bring it here. Will never dissolve that executive protection brigade, because you need to tell the Justice Minister and Mr. Dumbheaded President to stop recruiting people to kill opposition in the place. If my political leader comments will not talk, I will talk. If my political leader, Ambassador Bwaka will not talk, I will talk. If my political leader, Senator Yomli Kana will not talk, I will talk. If my political leader, Honorable Belinda Welfare Yure will not talk, I will talk. Because I've been harassed seriously in the country. You got people training malicious, going for 2 weeks training, and you're giving them arm, you're giving them certificate for firearm. Next week, Monday, I will get my position on security business in the country. Let me read my communication. I got my 2 communications. I wrote a communication on the Carry Friday, but the minister office are closed. To put my case back, when we get cases in the country, the court is to interpret our rules and the constitution of this country. If you deny me, I will make my position clear on next week Monday. Mr. Minister, this communication will come along with the other communication I went to your office Friday, and your office are closed. So you can sign for them to tell us why somebody was charged criminally. Your peer people that were assigned with me, that the reason why you see me, they stand very careful of my security business. Your peer people that were assigned with me to brutalize people with the understanding that I will be prosecuted. And we went to the court. Thank God there is somebody that know the law like George Roosevelt Willie. He said, yeah, the men were brutalized. The men were kidnapped. But we're not yeke. Yeke, Honorable Yeke, walk and go you free. And say the people that you're brought to be witness, that brutalized men, they must be prosecuted. Today we'll find the people in the security apparatus for them to kill us. Ambassador, we are your bastard. Show me where your power is. Oh, you don't get power? George, where you don't get power? George, where you don't have a father? So you want to bring the country back to the war days? George, where you think we'll say that for say, oh yeah, you got for war, yeah, I said I fought war. Let the war and economic crime, let me go there and generate myself. You think I'm going to say that I got bulletproof vest? I allow somebody to kill me? I hardly seen bulletproof vest when they sent Val Morris, that in the police to come and kill me. When I received calls from my political leader, Honorable Joseph Yuma Bwaka, I say, Yeke, you need to leave now. I got the evidence in my phone, so maybe people think I'm making up stories. On that particular day, I received call from Senator Yombi Kama, my sister-in-law. Yeke, you got to leave now. They don't even know how I left my house. They came, the corner last my horse. Mr. Defense Minister, what did you say? Did you say anything? The evidence all around. When my children program was disrupted, Mr. Defense Minister, what did you say? You think we are boys, eh? You think I'm afraid of people? I'm not afraid of nobody. Anybody give me the courage, the worry, I will give them the courage. Anybody give me talk, I will tell you the worry. Let me tell you something today. And I started with your boss man. Say you want executive order. He already get executive order to sleep with y'all and sleep with your wife then. Like Modu said, before the main employee to sleep with y'all. Have you people called him for investigation? Have you people asked for executive order? You open your dirty money account on my brigade, the brigade and say, come, I got bulletproof vest. Military bulletproof vest. Come with your executive order, come for it. You think we'll send people kill us and go free? It's serious. We've been joking with it. It's very, very serious. And
So we'll come back to it because there's a lot more on the tail
Yeah.
end. But gentlemen, you know, there are mixed feelings about how Yeke goes about his, making his points. There are folks who think that this is the only way this government can understand, and there are others who think that Yeke is, desecrating the position of an honorable man, and they think that there's a better way to go. But when you think about it on the whole grand scheme of things, the old adage, when you go to Rome, live like the Romans do. So there's just too much going on with what is happening in Liberia, the frustration, how only one group of people getting all the benefits of the goodies, and another group of people are on the tail end struggling, and the amenities are not being shared. People are not given the rights, across the board. So, gentlemen, who wants to go first? Moses, what do you say, or Ansu, what do you say?
Well, I just want to ask a
All right.
question. Moses is going to go first.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, yeah, we go. Okay.
Okay,
So,
go ahead.
first, let me make this disclaimer. Uh,
Hmm.
I am not a member of any political party. I have no political lineage with any political group in Liberia. I will be coming from the standpoint of a career broadcast journalist, a career social worker, and as a community leader. I'm one of those who strongly believe that the Honorable Yeke Koloba, his style of communication is inappropriate. It does not represent someone who occupies such position. He talked loosely, and when you are an honorable man, there are a lot that goes into that. Our honorable people are considered what? Role models. Our kids look up to you. People in the community look up to you. That's why when you communicate, given where you sit, you choose your voice appropriately. Let me help the honorable to understand. The purpose of communication is to convey thoughts and emotions. You can convey your thoughts and emotion without the use of profanities. Anyone who come across as being so profane in his style of communication, such person is considered in the community as a negative person, a controversial person. Our style of communication can make us to coexist happily together, and our style of communication can also make people to isolate us, to avoid us, not to even talk to you. And the way Mr. Koluba or Honorable Koluba carries on, that style of communication is inappropriate. He doesn't have to refer to President Weir as a bastard, meaning that he was born out of wedlock. to be able to tell Liberians or to be able to tell Mr. Weir that he disagree with him on policy issue. As an honorable man, you come across appropriately. You choose your words appropriately because you represent a district. Do you want my 10-year-old sitting here with me watching this podcast to listen to Honorable Yeke Koluba? Do you know what is she going to learn? Human
Okay,
behaviors
so
are
Moses,
what?
Moses.
Learned. Yes.
All right. So you said enough. Is Yaka Koluba the only one who does what he does?
Two wrongs,
I ain't there. I'm
two
coming.
wrongs do not make one right,
Well,
Mr. Shelton.
I'm just checking in. I'm just doing a fact check here
Yeah.
quick. Is
Yeah.
Yaka Koluba the only one who does what he does? Because there is a
Mhm,
Kairos Gray who will
mhm,
sing going about insulting.
mhm.
There is a Solomon George who we've seen going about insulting. There is what is other guy from Bone County who was carrying on the last time.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, but there are a lot of
and
guys who are fond of
there's a
that.
lot of
Yeah.
them from the ruling
Mhm,
party
mhm,
who are very arrogant, who are very profane,
mhm.
who who do sin as Yeke. Now Yeke has a target. In this case, now Yeke is being targeted by them and by others. So let's hear from Ansu quick. You come back.
Well,
But
before I even make
uh,
my argument, I want to
yeah,
ask.
You want
You got
you
something to
wait,
say,
wait,
Brother
wait.
Moses?
Moses, you want to say something?
yes, yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
just wanted to say something. I would say that I oppose all lawmakers or all public officials that use profanity as a means of conveying their thoughts. When you are in public office, I, Moses Seni, as National President Emeritus of Aja, must have communication. There's certain thing that I will say, it will be portrayed differently. You Volcano section, I'm a Volcano Shelton as administrator. Do you talk to your staff like that? Do you talk to your
Moses,
kids
don't
like
make no
that?
comparison to me. We're talking
No,
Yeke Koluba
no,
tonight.
no. I
No,
want to
no, no,
be,
no, no.
yes.
Leave me
So
out.
so
Talk
yeah,
Yeke Koluba.
so the guys who are doing that in Liberia,
Mm-hmm.
they are treading the wrong path. I do not support Akara's Gray. I do not support anyone who convey his thoughts or sentiments by using profanities. The
Okay, let's
honorable
stop there.
is wrong.
Let's hear from Ansu.
Yes.
I want to say something. First of all, before I even take my position, I want to ask some questions. They may be rhetorical, but you can come
Yes.
in if you want to answer them. First of all,
Sure.
there's absolutely nothing that Honorable Yeke has done that is illegal. Can we establish that? Has he done
Absolutely.
anything that is illegal?
Yeah,
I
He
absolutely.
want
has
most of
done.
the answer that.
Yeah, he's doing something illegal. Yeah, he has done several
Let,
How
things
do you
illegal.
make that? How do you make that illegal?
no, I want to hear from him.
It's freedom of
Yes.
speech. He's expressing himself.
No,
Go ahead. Make the case.
no. Look,
Go
let me
ahead. Make
say
the
this,
case.
and
Yeah.
it is good that the three of us sitting here are all professional people. The same yardstick that we want to use for Yeke, let's use that for ourselves. When you go to your respective offices, is that how you communicate with your
So,
colleagues?
Moses, let's stick to the question. Has
No,
Yeke done anything illegal?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. His staff communication is illegal, is inappropriate, and his staff communication does not represent someone who occupies such
Okay. Yeah,
position.
that's not the question. Brother Moses,
No,
I
but
want to be very clear
that's the
because I don't want you to
illegality
go
I'm
off
talking
tangent.
about.
I want to stick to the topic. Let me
No,
just
but
say
that's
this.
what I'm saying.
Yeke's speech is not
Yeah,
illegal. It's
it's
not illegal.
inappropriate.
Okay, inappropriate. I'm not
Yeah,
asking for
use the word
inappropriateness.
inappropriate, not
Okay,
illegal.
as
He's not-
yeah, but as an honorable man, you don't
You're
communicate
missing
like
the
that. That
point.
what makes it
I'm
illegal.
going down the line. Okay, it's inappropriate. I will concede the point to you. Nobody
Yes,
in any society holding special office should speak in that manner. I will see that
absolutely.
point, but I will ask you again: has he done anything illegal?
He has made. Let me tell you one thing.
Moses
That
is
one
a
thing that
yes and no, man. Come
yes,
on,
he
stop
has
beating
done
around the
some
bush.
things that are illegal.
What are
Like,
those things? In
This
his communication
accusation, right?
style?
The
Are you
loose
seeing?
talk. Yeah, listen, the loose talk. He claims that the Liberian government is training or has trained individuals with the sole purpose of what? Waging war on Liberians. How can he authenticate that?
Thank you. Stop right
Is
there.
he
That's
not
my time to talk.
is he
Listen
not
now.
putting the country? Is he not putting the people against
No,
the government?
no. In Liberia, I can stand on
Yes.
Broad Street. I can
Mhm.
stand on Broad Street, honor our law, and say, I
Mhm.
will buy me a gun. If anybody tries to harm me, I will defend myself. That is not illegal speech. That is not threatening speech. There are reports, there are justifiable reports where the men that literally try to go after Yeke, they went to the police force, they're putting them in the police. There are papers there. I'm not going to go back and forth. Number two,
Sure. Yeah.
does anybody think what Yeke is doing? If your life is threatened, are you going to try to defend your life? I'm not asking you a question. It's rhetorical. I will answer that. If somebody attacks my family at the airport, my babies, okay, Liberian citizens, and you deny them their right to their citizenship, I don't know how I would behave. I'll probably be worse than Yeke. And number three, there's a culture in Liberia, even from the level of the presidency, where the issue of disrespect and foul language is pervasive in our society.
Yeah.
I will concede this point to you. You didn't speak a certain way, but when you have a culture where aggression is the order of the day, especially coming from the government's level, it forces Yeke into a position where he has to act. Let me tell you why Yeke acts the way he acts. Number one, the courts will rule in Yeke's favor, and President Weah and the executive will refuse to enforce the law as mandated by the courts. Do you realize that every time they go to the Supreme Court, Yeke wins, but they refuse to follow the court's mandate? Are you aware of that, Mr. Moses?
Yes, I do.
Okay, do you
I
know
do.
when you do that, you put a man in a vulnerable position where he's forced to act? Yeke is not doing anything that any rational person wouldn't do. The issue here is Yeke is a Liberian citizen, an honorable man. This man is being treated in a way that he should not be treated. President Weah does not. When the court ruled, we all have to respect the court. They went to Yeke's house. It was ransacked. Was there any report from the government that said this is an investigation because somebody ransacked Yeke? This house was shut up. They could have killed this man. And we are joking with this. What is happening in the country is putting men to take positions to protect themselves. And it's not about the profanity. Yeke doesn't use any profanity.
He does.
No, he doesn't.
Did you not listen to him a few minutes ago?
Okay, listen to one profanity. He called President Weah a bastard,
A
right?
bastard. That a man has sex with his officials before appointing them to government.
Is that
Isn't
profanity?
that profane?
Is that
No,
profanity?
it's not
Isn't that,
profanity.
isn't that not
The
profane?
use of sex, the word sex is
Sex
profanity.
is not
That the man,
profanity.
listen,
Moses,
did he not,
Moses,
did
where's
he
your
not
education
accuse the
from
president
tonight?
of having sex
Moses,
with
Moses,
his with
He didn't accuse you of
appointees in
repeating
government?
something that somebody said in your office.
And he said, I don't mean say that
Mama say,
Moses,
and there are video
It's,
tapes.
Moses,
it's
what
There are
not a
CDC
foul
recordings of
did to you?
language.
girls fighting over the
It's not a
president.
foul language.
Moses, what
Guys,
CDC did to you tonight? Okay, let me
none.
come in now.
That's
Profanity.
what I said. I made
Let
a
me cool.
disclaimer.
Let me.
I do not support the CDC. I
Oh,
do not
hold on.
support any political
I
party.
agree.
But
Okay,
I'm
okay,
speaking as a professional person. I, Moses
okay,
Sandy, will never communicate like that. And one
I
thing I
agree.
want to
I
tell you
wouldn't do
guys,
that.
okay. So
and,
Moses,
and
let
guys, let
I'm
me
not
say
in
this.
Yeke's position.
Yeah, guys, let me say this to y'all, right?
Okay,
All of us here, we follow happenings in Liberia on a consistent basis.
correct.
Yeke's style of communication, can you tell me any good that style of communication has done for him in Liberia?
we'll
What
come to that.
difference has that made for
We'll
him?
come to that, Moses. We'll come to that.
No, I want you to answer that question first.
I
Because
can answer
if
the
you say
question. Let
he's
me answer the question
communicating like
so you can
that,
move on. Let me answer
yeah,
the question.
yeah, answer.
What causing Yeke to speak that way?
Eh?
What causing Yeke to speak that way?
He's being ill-treated. He's being
Targeted?
disrespected.
His life is threatened.
He's being marginalized.
His life
But
is
that does
threatened.
not, yeah, all of these things that
How you
I'm
tell
talking
how a
about.
man to respond when his life is being threatened?
No.
We ain't no
Moses,
position to say
Moses,
So
that.
are you telling
Moses, hold on
me
now.
if I'm
Moses,
being marginalized?
Moses,
Yes.
Moses, hold on.
Mhm.
We've never talked like this. Give the other chance, please. No, yeah, we're not. Yeah, let's not do
Yeah.
this.
You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah,
You're
guys.
absolutely
Yeah,
right.
I give
No,
you
no,
the go
no.
ahead.
We're
Mhm.
not like the other platforms.
I know
Correct.
we are.
Let's
We are
give our
different.
audience chance to learn and understand. And I will
Yeah.
try to
Mhm.
keep us, So let's
Yeah.
let's slow down.
Sure.
You made your point. I haven't even spoken yet. Because when I read to throw the bomb now, I don't know what you'll do. Okay. So I also finish up what you were saying. I'll give
I'll
you
just
I'll
go
give you
ahead.
1 minute.
Well, yes, my top
This
Moses.
is
I
interesting.
agree to you. I would never speak that way. but I'm not in Yeke's position. If my life is
I'm
threatened,
happy that you
I,
won't do
I
that
don't know.
also.
I've never spoken that way. I don't know if how I would act. I could probably be worse than Yeke. If
Yeah.
somebody threatened my family, if you shoot up
Mhm.
my house and my life is threatened, if the courts rule in my favor and the government refuses to enforce the court's decision intentionally, if I'm being marginalized on in the legislative floor in the house, I put bills on the floor and I'm here to represent the entire people. I don't know how I will respond. I'm not going to be focused on Yeke's quote unquote profanity. I will be focused on what's happening to a Liberian citizen because it could affect me. He's being put in a position that he has to bounce back. And Yeke is
Mhm.
only bouncing back. Give it to you.
So let
Okay,
me come
so
in here.
go ahead, Volcano.
Moses, you can't take the knife. Let me come in. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you look at the man Yeke Koluva, Yeke didn't start off like this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeke started to swell. When you put water in a pot or the tea kettle, as it sits in the kettle on the fire, it gets to a boiling point. But in the process, Yeke continues to remind the people who are doing him wrong. And he starts with the ruling party. The ruling party has a standard bearer who is the president of the country. And he bringing these things up and talking. But then he seeks, you know, support from his own inside workforce, which is the legislature.
Hmm.
But in the legislature, he's considered an outcast. The bagball speaker, he terms him the dumb speaker and all of that. He didn't get to say that. I'm sure he respected Buffer Chambers in the onset of his coming to that position. But the lack of Buffer Chambers to be responsive to what he's bringing forth and the support from the dominant CDC in the House against him marginalizes him to the point where he's now, listen, I'm going to go radical no matter what the circumstances is. And the few people who will come to me or come along with me, I will accept them. Then, but I will not go taking arms. I will not go fighting and being physical and all of that. I will just use words. But when I want to get a redress to my problem, I'll go to the Supreme Court, the supreme law of the land, to put forth my problems, mitigate my problems through them so that I can have a redress. And every time he wins. But the executive branch, because of its stubbornness, its irresponsiveness, its irresponsibleness, doesn't heed to the highest court of the land. That's a disrespect to your third branch of government. So where does Yeke turn? Yeke goes to his House of Representatives. He goes to the legislature, no redress. He goes to the executive, no redress. He goes to the court makes a decision in his favor, no redress. You tell me, what about same man will not go radical? Even here in this country, why do you think you do clinical studies? You deal with people with mental health.
On a
Where
consistent basis, yeah. Mhm.
where does a person go amok?
Okay, at
Where
a
does a person
situation
go?
like that, right? And let me begin by saying that, hey,
And hold on, you
okay.
come. And
Hmm.
in his honorable armor, he can't get anything done. Nobody respect his honorifics.
Hmm.
What do you expect him to do? He has to go radical. He has to go ordinary, Moses. And that's what Yeke is doing. And until he can get redressed, you have turned the man into a madman. And that's why he's wearing his bulletproof jacket,
Correct.
because he's seeing
Okay.
something on the horizon that you are not seeing. You're not in his pinch. You're not facing what he's going through. Here's a man who the season his salary. How the hell in the world that a sergeant standing to the door should muscle is sitting representative and pushing other the chambers and say he got order from the speaker? Is that constitutional? The man can have what you consider what's the word amenities out there. Police can arrest him. He can, but then the sergeant of arms that's supposed to be his own muscling him. He can't enter the house. Come on, man, Moses. You've been in the house. You know the situation. It is bad governance. It is a bad government in power. That is why all of this is happening. And this is the right route that Yeke is taking by being
Okay.
radical.
So,
Irrespective of the languages he uses, that's the way he can get attention. And he's doing what he would do to get attention. At least he's not taking up gun and shooting up the place.
okay.
Let's be
And
practically honest here tonight.
so, Mr. Shelton, like you and many other people who empathize with Mr. Yeke Kolubat as a result of the way he's being treated, I would like to join you guys tonight to say, hey, I empathize with his situation. I deplore the kind of mistreatment he's receiving in government, but I want to publicly pronounce that I condemn in the strongest term his style of communication. That has never helped him, will never help him. All it has done for him exacerbated his situation. His style of communication does not represent someone who occupies such an honorable position. I
All
do
right.
not want a representative. I do not want a lawmaker. I do not want a legislator that represents me, that represents Liberians that will go to public gathering and refer to someone as a bastard. I do not want such person. He has to be appropriate. He can seek legal redress through other means.
But
All
what are you
I'm
talking
saying,
about here,
let
Moses?
him be
I will pause you there.
appropriate. Let him
I
be
will pause you there.
appropriate.
Moses, I
His
will
style of
pause you there.
communication does not represent anyone who
Moses,
sits in the House of
Moses. So Moses,
Representatives.
I'll pause you there. I'll pause you
Yes.
there.
Mhm.
You talk about legal redress, and the man has done it, and he has won on numerous occasions. And the people who are supposed to implement what the court has ordered refuse to, and there's no redress. Is that what you're saying, Moses? Let's
But
pause you there. Listen, listen.
yeah,
Let me open the lines and give
yeah,
the public
yeah,
opinion,
yeah.
because I can imagine how people are going to chew you here tonight,
Oh yeah, sure.
and
I'm willing to take
I'm just
that.
going to give them the ketchup to put the ketchup on you, the mustard, also. Uh,
Hello,
so,
hello, guys.
uh,
I'm willing to take all the beating tonight, but as
all
a
right,
communicator, as a
Moses. Let me open the
clinician,
lines.
I
Moses, you
oppose
said it's the
Honorable
word over.
Yeke Koluba's style of communication.
Okay, that's your
But but but
opinion.
but, but Shelton,
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to ask Brother Moses, how do you
Yes.
recommend Yeke should go about this? You give Yeke a
Good.
recommendation.
I thought we'll come
Yes.
to that. No, no,
Yes.
no.
Oh,
Okay,
Let's
you
pause
want
that.
me to answer
At the,
that?
no. At the end of the show, we'll
okay.
Yes.
close on recommendations and so
Sure.
forth. But
Sure.
I want the people to. I want the people.
To power
I'm
me
giving them the
tonight.
mustard. I'm giving them the ketchup, the mayonnaise, so they can put it
To
on you
power
and
me
eat you.
tonight. I'm
So
willing to stand up to
the
them.
line. We're gonna open the line now. In the meantime, we like to remind you is the issues room here where we discuss the things that matter. We want to thank all of you for coming through here tonight. We're having a great conversation. We are looking at Yeke Koluba, his style of communication. Some see him as he's doing the right thing. There are thousands of people who believe in Yeke and think that he's speaking up for the ordinary people. Moses Sandy is saying that his style of communication is not conformed to the office he holds, and there's another way he can go about it. And at some point, those recommendations will be made. But we want to encourage you to share the link, share the word, invite others to come on. Othello Dillon, we say welcome. Namiento Nino Brown, Momo Nelson, LIB Gayu, Flomo Livingstone. Thank you so much for coming in. Dolo Dolo, Emmanuel Jackson, Sando B. Johnson. Thank you for showing up here tonight. It's good to have you in the house. Bennett O'Connor, thank you, my brother, for coming through. Abenigo Kanafi, if that's the right way, we say thank you too for coming in here in the issues room. It's good having all of you wonderful people. Thomas Awaji, of course, one of our key supporter here in the issues room. We also saw Richard Hammer, who came by for the first time. Richard Hammer and Amma Freeman. We say thank you for showing up, and we encourage all of you to share the link. This conversation will push it probably till 9 p.m. Because of its significance. Mary Pratt, we say thank you, Godwin We Adore. We're going to post the line now. The number is 404-272-2808. 404-272-2808. The number is right there on the banner. And oftentimes, sometimes people say, oh, they can't see the number. I don't know how you can see that big bold
No-
number. But again, the number is
right there.
404-272-2808. Oh, my man, Sam Abu, the president of the Del Val chapter of the Association of Liberian Journalists here in the Americas, is also on the show tonight. Sarvis Doye, actually, that's the name. We say welcome here in the issues room. Gentlemen, listen, the lines open, call. Let me go back to a segment of Yeke Koluba again to stimulate this conversation a little more. Because you know, I heard some things and I just wanted to, hopefully bring him in.
They are leaders for the Liberian people and they don't want to talk. It's up to them. When we went to Grand Judah, any attack on Bokume and myself, they attack the both of us. You understand what? Letting I'm saying, time to enough for Radaloo. They tried that being said, it's a red election 2023. That what the pastor want to do. And let me tell you something today. If ECOWAS said that election is rigged, anybody red election will put you in the bush. Don't ask me about what it means. It could be about gun, it could be about anything. We'll put you in the bush. We'll put you in the bushes.
Is that a plan?
It could be anything. If you think it's a plan, it's a plan. Why it can be a plan when you want to rig election? It's a plan. Anybody rig election will put you in the bush. It's a plan.
Do you have trust in the NEC?
What you call trust in the NEC? The NEC will trust itself.
You guys can
Anyone
hear
bring
him,
the
right?
country back to create to chaos. Just sit down here, you're looking at the country going their way. Nobody can talk, but we will talk. So tomorrow history can judge us. So tomorrow when we put in them back to the butcher, so they can say, you can sell it.
What could be your fear?
My fear is not nothing. I want to inform the Liberian people. You think I'm scared? I'll be telling Joe, we say you're a pastor. Joe, we are your pastor. So who are scared of?
I'm talking about for the nation.
My fear is we don't want the country to go back to war days. We don't want the country to go back to war days. And it's coming. You training criminals, giving a certificate to hold gun in 2 weeks. Giving a certificate to hold gun in 2 weeks. I went to the fire, the ring and fire, the police academy. You understand what I'm saying? You don't go there for 2 weeks training, they get you certificate, and nobody saying that you're talking. Everybody singing praises to the pastor. Mr. Pastor will not sing praises to you. You need to stop it. These people must be taken from the security sector. These people must be taken from the security sector. These people must be taken. I'm calling on the Liberian people to wake up. To wake up. And let me tell you today, no rest in your country. So if you have 5 cups of rest, every day you and your family must eat, you must count the rest by green to eat it. No rest in your country. I was elected to speak with my people. That's my job. I'm an advocate. And my people have been asking me. So I'm telling you today, if the president of it, you know why I went all of the country to take my vaccine? Because the president did not trust the vaccine in the country. And I told my people that I was going all of the country because I don't trust the vaccine. And I said it. You cannot hide from my people. I see somebody say that, oh, you guys are resident of Dubai. Yes, my king, I told you I went to Dubai. I'm a resident of Dubai. I'm not a citizen of Dubai. I'm a resident of Dubai. And I will go there anytime I feel like. And when I go there, I will tell my people, they can see what the point you blood there. I'm ask Mama Molukocho. They say, silent me concern. I'm here acknowledge the statement made by him.
So,
Jowia is the most senior gay in the country.
Kev Hassan that is always on the phone talk was slept with by the president of Liberia.
Yeah, when they even came in the country, Ambassador William went to the Royal Hotel, he slept with Kev.
Were you still contesting district number 10, 2023, sir?
I'm the representative of district number 10. I remain being a representative. We're not discussing district number 10 because there's no competitor here. I am sitting. I'm not running campaign. The poor district number 10 will vote for me. The poor district number 10 know that since the history of the country, since 1847 or since 1818, I've been the first consistent lawmaker that can be bought, that stand by what I stand for and believe in what I believe in. So we're not running campaign.
What's your call to the NEC on those individuals that were sanctioned by the US and thinking of contesting?
Look, we're not contest. When the registration time reach, I will read the election commission telling them that the UN session say nobody must do business with these people. Look, we're not contest. And if they try, I will put the Supreme Court on record. I will take them there. We're not talking about a law here. If there was a law here, they were not going to put people on sanction. They were not going to resign. So what law are we waiting for? They put guilty already. Why did they resign? Why we couldn't say our law didn't say so? People are guilty already. And I will be challenging the Supreme Court. And when I issue my writ to the Supreme Court, I will carry a copy to the American embassy to let them know that the Supreme Court had decided to give these people authority to run. Then you will see, my man, everybody want to go to America beside me. They will shake. They will not even try. And when I came and case, they will tell the person, my man, they put not running.
So everybody wants to come to America and enjoy. We are government. That's why he can charter plane and then the folded plane. There is no space even for the aircraft attendants. The aircraft attendants and so you can saying he ain't got to come to America, but he will make his case, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Well, there's a saying out there. It says, if you want peace, you have to prepare for war. And every single time Liberians will do their thing, oh, if we want war in their country, oh, we want war. Let me tell you guys something. My podcast on Sunday, and there was a passage, an entire segment that I consider wars come. And I'll repeat it and kind of summarize this. Wars come when justice is not administered as mandated by the Constitution. Wars come when we alienate a half of our population and we then accord them the benefits of citizenship. Wars come when a man feels in his own country he cannot attain the tenets of
Let me just
democracy in that
let me
country.
just tell the caller. Just
Yeah,
wait
take
from
that call.
Massachusetts. Just wait from Massachusetts. Let Dwalu finish his stuff. I'll come to you. Go ahead, Dwalu. Finish up.
Yeah, no,
Go ahead.
wars don't just come because somebody wants to go buy a gun. Wars come when a man has no other option. He resorts to war. He doesn't bring war, but it brings to the sake of bringing war. Our war came in 1989 for those very reasons that we've seen today in the Republic of Liberia. To avert wars, we have to stop those so we can have an equitable society. And I think that's what Yeke is pushing for.
And that's why I say Yeke is more of an aggressive, communicator. He's not going to war, but he's using communication as his tool for
Yeah.
war.
Legally.
Yeah,
Legally.
it's a warfare in a way. Let me bring the caller in quick.
Okay, sure.
The
Sure.
caller calls from Massachusetts. Am I right?
Hello,
Yeah, you're live. Your name?
this is Othello Dylan calling from Lower Massachusetts.
It's a pleasure having you. Good evening. Welcome to the show. You're following the conversation. I've seen a little bit of what you've been throwing out here. What's your take on Yeke? Are you on the Moses side or on the other side?
I'm on the side of the Liberian people.
Okay, so
Look,
tell us what your side.
yes, I follow with keen interest the issues of falling back home. To be very frank with you guys, Liberia now has become a no-go zone for a lot of people. Not only Liberian, but the world because of what is unfolding. The government is inept. The government has failed its people. And it's a big shame that those that were elected to foster the opinions and to seek the welfare of the Liberian people cannot speak up because they are in the pocket of the government. And by the majority of those we are representing senators in our capital building, I mean, you cannot get things done. So I think that when people should feel Yeke, if anyone thinks Yeke is crazy, they are crazy. Yeke is one of the most sane, honorable men Liberia has ever had. As you put it succinctly a while ago, Yeke has been pushed against the wall. Yeke was threatened. If anybody threatens my family, I'm telling you, I won't say what I was saying on radio, but you will regret. Yeke seek regrets. Supreme Court rule in Yeke's favor. What the heck the government is doing? What they want this guy to do? What should Yeke do? Yeke is doing everything right. I implore the Liberian people to rally around him and let's change this country. If Yeke had not spoken against the rest issue, the government would not come to say anything today. Yeke knows facts. Yeke doesn't just talk because people think he's crazy. He's not. So I want to implore like Liberian people to get behind this dude, to get things done because I'm telling you, there is a hidden agenda for the Georgia government. They have hidden agenda for the coming election. So people have to speak up. If those other knuckleheads in capability don't really talk, that's their business. But Yeke must continue to speak. I implore him, and that's my little 2 cents, guys.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr.
Yeah.
Dillon. Thank you.
Yeah.
Moses.
Yeah, so let me restate my position again. If you follow Mr. Yeke Koluba's style of communication, that has never helping and will never helping.
All right.
I
So
want,
you
I,
hold on,
I
hold
want,
on, hold on,
yeah.
hold on, Moses, hold on. You're
hmm
reiterating what you already said. So let me take this caller quick.
Yeah, something I
Let
wanted
me
to
take
say,
this
but I'll
caller.
go
Just
ahead.
pause
Yeah.
on that. You'll come with it.
hmm
Caller. Good evening. Welcome from New Jersey.
Good evening, Volcano. How you doing, sir?
We're good. We're good. What's your name?
I'm OG. How you doing?
All right, OG. um, well, 1 second. Let me tell the next caller. I'll bring him in.
Very interesting show.
The caller from Pennsylvania. Please hold. I'll come back to you. The caller from Pennsylvania just called. Just hold. I'll come back to you. Let me take the guy from New Jersey. All right, OG.
Yes.
All right, lay it out. What do you say?
Yeah. Go evening, Volcano. Go evening, Dualo and Moses. How you guys doing?
Good.
My man, we ain't got time there. Thanks
Welcome
for the salutation. Hit the nail on
Okay.
with a hammer.
on the head.
I respect Dualo a lot, but I'm kind of surprised that Dualo is giving credence to Yeka Kolba's psychotic behavior. I'm very surprised.
Okay.
And I just wanted to ask Moses one question.
Sure.
Mostly as a clinical social worker, and
Yeah.
you've been in the social work field, do you think you could call by name some type of mental health evaluation?
Well, look, in the business of clinical
That's my
social
question for
work,
Moses.
unless
So
someone
that's it.
is
So Moses
seen,
can answer that. I can let you go.
Yes.
All right, then Moses, hold on. I got a
okay,
caller on queue. So let
sure,
me take
okay.
that caller and then
hmm
we'll come to you. Yeah, caller from Pennsylvania. Are you there?
I'm here.
All right, go ahead. What's your name?
Uh, I'm here.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Just a quick question for Moses, right?
hmm
Hello?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
a quick question for Moses. After all that he has said, being a clinician,
Go ahead. We can hear you.
okay, being a clinician, d- won't you have some kind of mental problem after being attacked with heavy firearms in a day?
So it's like a PTSD, post traumatic stress syndrome or something.
I might not want to say it, but kind of to be very frank with you, a similar thing happened to what is happening to Yeke. If most were in a situation, he would behave like Yeke. Trust me.
Okay. All right. So let's give Moses the opportunity. Nathan Bernard is asking for our WhatsApp number to call from Australia. Go on WhatsApp and yeah, and do the same number 404-272-2808. Of course,
Yep.
you have to, I believe, use our country area code here in
Okay.
America. So you have to do that on Nathan Bernard. It's the same number, bro. All right, Moses. So
Yeah.
will you say that Yeke has mental health issue right now with what's happening? And if you thought that Yeke was exposed to these kinds of uh traumatic life event, I mean the seizure of your 2 week old baby's passport, people coming to kill you and your political leader
And
in
they're food.
yeah, and attacking them in Grand
Elaborating
County,
further. Yeah.
coming to his house in what's it called, a Smile Road area, wherever he is, and seizing his salary, making the man go hungry, his family. Then they pushing him out of his office and all these things. What's going on with you, Moses? You still recently in
So
the issues
yeah,
room?
yeah. So let me come from this question of whether Mr. Koluba or Honorable Koluba has any form of mental health problem. As a clinician, it would be wrong, inappropriate, unprofessional for me to sit on the talk show and diagnose the Honorable Yeke Koluba without talking to him, without looking at his medical records, his family history. But one thing that I can clearly speak to, Yeke Koluba was like most Liberians that participated in the Civil War, he was exposed to a lot of traumatic situations. He was shot at, he also shot at other people. So it's likely that that may have, I mean, that may be some contributing factors, the way he come across. But I can't say yeah and say, well, he has issues with mental health. Again, the situation, the way he's being treated by the current administration, he been denied his right, he's been denied his salary, his family situation. These are all depressing situations. These are all significant stressors that will make anyone to sometimes misbehave. However, as a leader, I'm saying the way he's conducting himself, the way he's conveying his messages, that has never helping and will never helping in getting anything done. When Yeke Koluba talks to me, I am not interested in knowing whether George Weah is a gay or not. I want him to talk to me about policy issues. If he's talking about the situation of rice, let him articulate his ideas, convey his message to me in an appropriate way so I will understand his concerns, his recommendations for the way forward. I don't want him telling me whether he saw George Weah and
Kissing a car's
Akara's
great.
grave. Yeah, kissing Akara's grave. That George Weah came to the United States. He reportedly had sex with Kev Hansen of Spoon TV. As an honorable man, gentlemen, tell me, man, we are all notable people in our community. You want to accept that? That's unacceptable.
All
You
right,
don't
let me hear.
communicate like that.
Let me hear from Ansu quick.
Yeah,
Yes.
The other
the
caller
first thing,
call. I'm coming.
yeah,
Yeah,
I got his message.
good. Go ahead.
Okay, from my brother Gayu, LRB Gayu, you said you can't believe man that Dwali will support what Yeke is doing. My argument is not in support the way Yeke goes about it. I'll post to the language, the way he uses them. But I'm not naive. Thank God we have a clinician here, and hopefully he will agree with me. Your condition, your surrounding, your environment to some extent determine how you behave. It's not the only factor, but it's a heavily contributing factor to how you behave. If you're put on a tremendous strain, let me tell you something. A lot of times, you've never been shot at. In the military, we used to have this thing doing training. There's a barbed wire. The barbed wire is probably maybe 10 inches very tall, and you have to crawl underneath the 10 inches. They will set these gun, their machine gun. If you see Rainbow, they're called 240 guns and assault weapons, and they will shoot over your head heavily while you are crawling. The intent is to get you to really bury your head and go across the barbed wire. The barbed wire could be almost 100 meters long. What I'm trying to say is they're trying to increase your stress level. If you go on that tremendous stress, the way you behave immediately after is not normal, what we consider normal, because you've been put on a tremendous stress. So you can attribute it to some brain dysfunction, etc. But which one of us here? I got twins. My twins are 14 years old. If they were 2 weeks old, and my wife is at the airport, somebody seizes their food and seizes their passport and keeps my baby hungry for that long,
And you are an honorable man.
and I'm an honorable man
Honorable man.
Yeah.
in my country, Yeke is seen compared to what I'll be trying to do. The argument is not how Yeke speaks. The argument is how the government forces Yeke to speak in that fashion. That should be the argument. And that's my argument.
Okay.
I give
And
it to you.
my argument is that regardless of how he's being treated by the government, that's why we always say what two wrongs do not make one right. If the government
Can I
is
interject one
mistreating,
second?
It's
well,
outdated, man. Come on.
let me convey my
I
thoughts.
outdated. Don't do that.
If he's
Don't
being
make one right.
mistreated, that does not in any way justify that he goes public and refer to the president of the Republic of Liberia as a gay who is having sex with other men. That's
What other
inappropriate.
redress does he
That
have?
is not
What other redress?
representative of anybody.
What's his redress? What's his redress?
Eh?
What redress does he have?
Just-
Where?
But the staff communication has that in any way help him?
But it's
Right?
not helping him. It's not helping him. So how more can it hurt him?
If Yeke wants to be, if he wants to cheat, if he wants to see change in Liberia, he has to walk the walk. He has to be the change agent. He has to be appropriate in terms of how he conveys stuff.
Shelton, Shelton, can I ask Mose one question?
Yeah.
Mose, if I met you in Worcester over the weekend and I just came and put dirty slap in your ear,
Yeah.
what's your response?
Will that happen? That's what we call impulsive behavior. When people act in the moment. If I'm walking with my wife
Yeah,
and you come and hit me,
yeah.
the likelihood of me reacting in similar way is very high.
Correct.
Some people will react in similar way.
Correct.
Some people, what do? They take a break,
Okay.
pause, give you a second thought. You say, well, I don't think this is something that I can do.
Yes, a follow-up
Instead,
question.
further
Don't go
do
too
the rest.
far.
Yes.
And then every
Mhm.
time I keep putting daddy slap in your ear, every time I keep putting daddy slap in your ear, what do you do?
Look, one thing that I learned in behavior modification, is that if you do not want to reinforce negative behavior, what do? You ignore.
You
Let
cannot
Yeke be
ignore
the
the
leader.
state. You cannot ignore the state.
Let Yeke Koluba be the leader.
All right, you guys,
How you
you
gonna be
guys,
the leader in the country? The country
you
is
guys
after
pause.
him.
You guys pause. Let me take my caller here from overseas. Is this a caller that was trying to reach us from Australia?
Yes, sir. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show here, my brother. It's good that you hanging out with us tonight. Good conversation here. I got the 2 men fighting each other, so I'm waiting here to start throwing my own blow. But bring your own blow in now. Tell us what's your take on everything happening here? Yaka Koluba versus George
Well,
Weah and the CDC government, and how the Liberian people also see him as a hero.
yes. Okay. Thank you so much, brother, for allowing me. You see, one thing I get one or two questions for the guy who are trying to castigate Yeke Koluba. Let me give him the reference before I go through. Let him watch a couple of TV from, videos from South Africa, how the opposition put the ANC whole feet to fire vehemently. Then you will know that I'm talking about Julia Malema, but these people on your platform, some of them, they are started, they're not prolific, they don't watch in the other African news how the opposition hold the government to fire. Yeke is the only man in Liberia that holding this government to fire. Yeke trying to reciprocate what happened. What George we used to do it, how to call it, the CDC, right? When they were masquerading with casket. Can that brother who's saying Yeke is crazy, can with big casket around Capitol building, can he tell the audience what was the purpose, the intent of those caskets, and then putting red, how to call it, oil on a painting, a color grape on a cloth? Can he tell your audience for me to be convinced so I can join the CDC? What were the intentions of those people masquerading with caskets? See, so what I'm trying to tell them is they must be very objective in their analysis. Yeke is the only man in Liberia. It will have a 20 or 30 or Yeke in parliament. You see all the book of bills that have been coming on, and you understand, in parliament, everybody remain mute, even the Vanny Shemo. Liberia will never go forward when we get behind certain group of people when the government in power will take control from them, and then we remain silent. Look, in Ghana, there was deregulation. The food that people used to eat, there was no food. There was no protein. You see, but when Gerald then came into power, see how today Ghana is moving forward. And our country of man footballer, right? He claimed to have 97. Look, those that put that guy in power, God will forever punish them. Those that behind George here. Because me here, I would never get $97 million. They use everything that I go like really put so he get a country at heart. Who can call footballer? Let me tell you, some of those people in your studio, they don't know the African footballer them that get their country at heart. Let them take pen and paper. Mutombo, he played for the NBA, right? Basketball. He built 100-bedroom hospital in Congo, Kinshasa. And George Bush Jr. made him honorable citizen of the United States. Didier Drogba built a 5-million-bedroom hospital in Abidjan. You understand? And Samuel Eto'o have been doing Abide Pele and Anthony Yeboah, all those guys that
And hold on.
investing that.
And hold on. And George, we have built urgent care called Military 14. It may
With the
be
Labreco
urgent.
money.
It's not his own
But
money.
that was with the Liberian people money. And in fact, I heard that part of that money to finish up the hotel, the clinic, what they call it, hospital, was the reason why he
Mhm.
fired Nathaniel Blama. It was
Yes.
Okay.
the money for the COVID,
Correct.
because they asked the
Yeah.
guy to give him
And to
$350 million, $1,000, and the guy said no.
yeah,
Again, it's alleged. So let's clarify.
yeah,
Continue.
and to move forward, brother, to move forward, this guy accumulated such an amount, right? The Gibraltar, I know Joe, we have more than the people that are sitting in the studio there, because I from looking time when you were playing for survival. They were the guys from the third division before they went to 8 years. The Gibraltar today, the people putting in plastic there. Man, who from there, from grassroots to me here in Australia here, because you were on radio, I was used to pick aluminium copper wire. We were in Gibraltar before I started playing for. He ever erected a $5,000, just a mere $5,000 toilet, and donated
Wow,
to the
that's
people
something
there.
we didn't even
Absolutely
consider.
no.
Thank you, my brother.
But
Listen,
you understand?
you've laid a lot. Just
So
wrap
Yaka,
it up in 30 seconds.
yeah, thank you. So people that Yaka, we need both of them in parliament to speak the injustice, the killing of innocent people by Simbose, and the go will impunity people, children. Look at that Nimba, that bread farm girl that they just killed. The people they just went in breed. They said that TB. And they treat the man who see the who trying to debunk and Yaka, their castigate Yaka in our family children, who will never be in the studio there to say that. Thank you very much, brother. Was nice talking to you.
Thank you, my man. Don't mind that man. That man, I know everyone with him on that. But Asu, so the guy said something. They
But
man,
look,
George, we are making on Gibraltar,
Yeah.
and there's nothing the man has done in Gibraltar.
but Volcano,
It just
then
hit me in the head.
we going off tangent now. The issue is on Yake Koloba.
No, hold on, man. Hold on. Don't do that. We're not going off tangent. Conversation. When you pour Ropo's bush, right? So, the man just brought something that hit me in the head. He making a comparison. Now we said the man had all this money as a result of playing soccer, but he came to Liberia broke. Then he made comparison of others who played sports and what they've done compared to what he's done. And he
so then let me ask you a question, Volcano.
Let me finish now, Moses. He's from Gibraltar and has done nothing. And I have not thought about it. You understand what I'm saying, Ansu?
Yeah. So Ansu quickly, let me ask Volcano this question. Is the man implying that for the fact that George Weah did not invest in Liberia, he did not do anything for the people of Liberia, does that in any way imply that he should be referred to as a gay who is having sex with other men? Because that's what Yeke Koloba does.
You're sticking on the gay issue.
But if the man taking the country money and putting it behind all the girlfriends there, behind all these relationships he has,
yeah,
will he be able to do anything for the country?
No, my question again is this. I want you guys to get my question.
You know how many girlfriends?
The question, no, Volcano. The question you asking me.
Do you know Volcano, how much money we are
question you
in
asking me? Does that justify the foul language? Your question that you're asking me. Does that justify the foul language?
I never asked you a question, Moses. I made a statement. I never asked you a question.
Okay, the statement that you made
said that we are. Hold on, let me make it clear. We're not arguing. I said the brother said that Weah has done nothing in his own Gibraltar community, and I said I never thought about it. It just hit me in the head.
Okay,
that's what I said.
Okay, so then my question to all those who hold similar view: does that in any way justify the foul language that Mr. Yeke Koloba uses on Akara Gray, uses on George Weah, referring to him as a gay who is having sex with other men in Liberia? Does that justify that? Of course not.
This man is, but is that an insult? Let me finish this answer.
Of course.
Is that an insult? What
of course.
I accuse you
in
of
our
something
culture,
you? Moses, man, stop
Volcano,
this, man. You educated.
In our
Don't do
culture,
that. No, Moses.
In our
Moses,
culture, when you are referred to as a gay,
Moses, what are you talking about here? You in
when
a
you are
global
referred
society.
to in our culture as a gay,
and so that takes away your pride.
Of course, it does.
But then you need to defend it that you're not a gay.
But Moses, I don't think it's a
Yeah.
people call Mr. Cummings gay all the time. They
Yeah,
do
what
all
are
this
you
stuff.
But
talking
why
about
you
here?
The
think
issue
the
of
ANC?
It's gay and
Why you think
calling
the
someone
ANC
gay and
constantly?
insult?
But
It's
why the
listen,
ANC is
it's
constantly
referencing a
coming up
sexual
to say
behavior.
that Mr. Cummings
Moses,
is not a gay?
Moses.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
referencing a sexual behavior.
that's
Yeah,
it.
If
it's
you say
referencing a sexual behavior, but then don't forget now in the context in which this word is being used.
It doesn't. The
Take into
context doesn't matter, really.
consideration our
Moses, what you
culture.
call the context? Moses,
Our
what's wrong with
culture.
you tonight? What you call the
Our culture.
context?
No, Volcano. Let
What
us
is
not
the
go that way.
context?
Let's
But
let's
if
let's
I call
let's
you a
look at
gay
this.
right now, is there a
If you
context?
okay, Volcano Shelton,
Yeah.
let's assume that you and I mean, two of us are co-hosts of the issues. If we disagree on issue, you come and tell me, say, Moses Sandy, you're having you're having sex with other men. What
Okay.
has that got to do with the problem that you
Let,
and
let
I
me
have?
answer the man. I'm taking you, Shelton.
Yeah, I'll
Yes, go
check
ahead,
on
answer.
Look, Moses. Let me tell you
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
If a man has absolutely no other redress, he will
Mhm.
say things that will anger you. The intent of Honorable Yaka Koduba, the only thing that moves President Weah, if people talk at him in this manner.
But that's wrong.
Whether it's true, no, you see, the argument that you keep forgetting,
communication
it's not a
style.
justification. Yeah, it's his style. It's not a justification the way Honorable Yeke Koduba talks. I would not recommend that for Honorable Man or anybody else in the society.
And
I will keep repeating this.
we remain firm on this position. But
Correct.
we're saying that because of the condition, the situation he's faced with,
What
I laid
precipitates that?
my cards on the table, and that's the only way he thinks he can get some kind of
Get back.
attention.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because he's being denied.
You understand? Hold on now, Moses. Hold on.
Look at this laughter.
Hold on, Moses. Hold on. You understand the term? You understand the term attention seeking in clinical psychology?
Yes.
Moses.
That's what he's doing.
So that's what he's doing.
Mhm.
But is it wrong?
It
Yes,
is. It is wrong, and he's proceeding the wrong way.
Yeah, but
proceeding the
what
wrong
way
way.
will you recommend he proceeds?
And we're
That's
coming
what
to the
I said.
recommendation.
They
Oh,
come
okay,
back.
yeah, keep forgetting.
Okay. and then-
Pause on the recommendation. Now,
Okay.
listen quickly. Mariah Seaton is asking, what's the topic here tonight? Mariah
Okay.
Seaton, actually, the topic here tonight is Yeke Koluba, the honorable
His style
man.
of communication.
Hold on, Moses. Caller, I will come quick to you. Let me just refer to the conversation topic here tonight. So Yeke Koluba is the honorable of district number 10, and he goes about insulting the president, officials of the ruling party, and everyone says Yeke is crazy. The Liberian people, some of them say, oh, that's the best man, he's talking for us. So we're looking at the pros and cons of his style of conversation. So if you follow the conversation, that's what you're getting here tonight. Ansu and I are saying that it is not totally good, but it's also not bad because he's put in this position. And this is the way he can make his point clear. Moses is saying no matter the circumstance, there is a better way. So we'll come to the end of the conversation to decide the way forward. But in the meantime, I have Samuel Abu on the line. Good evening, Sam. Welcome.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen. How you guys doing?
We're doing
Good,
good.
Mr.
We're
Abu.
doing good.
My
Welcome to the
president
issues room.
emeritus.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my president emeritus.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. You live.
Go ahead,
How
Mr.
you
Abu.
doing?
We're listening to you.
Absolutely. I know Moses is concerned about the verbal impulsivity of Honorable Koluba, but Koluba has always remained the man. One thing I know about him, he's very consistent in his behavior. Koluba has always been there. I mean, just as you guys have stated, how Koluba was treated, how they continue to treat him like an outcast. And that doesn't mean the status of who he is as a representative, as person who represents a community, and the community, as I see, continue to trust and they hold him in high esteem, no matter who he is. So we have to accept him as it is. In behavior psychology, just as you said, sometimes there are things you cannot change people. What you do, you change the way you respond to the way they do their things. So you have to start liking him. So based on that, a lot of people have started liking him, you know. And if I tell you, like yesterday, I listened to him. He said they have election tonight, he will win. And that's how it looks like. I think one time we were in conversation, Volcano, we talk about him, that there will be a lot of people who would think that he's doing the wrong thing. Yes, it's because of the way we look at things. That, oh, because he's honorable, you know, he mustn't talk that way. People say, oh, because George Weah is president. When he does nonsense, nobody must talk about it. Then they say you're misbehaving, you're insulting the government. Like the topic the earlier caller brought in about the Gibraltar. You know, George Weah has remained the person. He uplifted himself and keeps people down. Most of the friends he had, he has put them aside. He keeps Gibraltar like that because he wants to say he came from the slum. So he doesn't want to change that slum who from Gibraltar. So when he brings guests, they will still see people sitting down and doing number two over the Mesurado water. They say this is where this is where I came from.
In Miami. Oh man,
So,
listen.
but Moses, I know it's difficult for you to really undertake it. You've been talking this a long time. Leave Yeke alone. Yeke is a hero all by himself.
Yeke coming for the man, leave.
He's a hero. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Let me just stop so far. I hope you guys had a good time in Worcester.
All right,
Sure.
thank you.
Yeah, we did. Thank you.
Mr. Freeman, the number is on the screen. So
Yeah, that's what I was
definitely-
about to say. To Amar Freeman, the number is right on the screen: 404-272-2808, 404-272-2808. The number has never changed. So if you want to contribute, call. Let's have this conversation. I'm having fun here. A little bit at time we get a little rowdy and crossing over each other, but let's still savor here. We shouldn't turn into Yeke Koluba here tonight.
Well, Shelton, I want to add this though.
Go ahead.
If you notice Honorable Calabar, literally almost everything he's done legally. This is one thing you got to tell. The man wants the best for Liberia. We can argue how he goes about it, but everything he's done, he runs to the core. So we got to give this man credit because he wants redress. And that redress, there's no other way in our society they can get redress unless you go through the legal means. And he's done that. And the courts have ruled repeatedly. The only place he got, maybe he goes to ECOWAS court. But how can he go to ECOWAS where he's not even getting his paycheck? So they're strangulating this man.
And you're right, because the man says that those guys just in the house, they're a bunch of figure-headed people.
Yeah.
They don't know the rules, they don't read the constitution, they don't even know the house rules and things that they're supposed to put on the open floor to go into what they call committee room, and try to do, so let's talk so. Yeke may not be highly educated like the others that profess to have doctorate and masters and criminal justice background and legal backgrounds in the house, but a man who reads and creates his
I think he's more educated than most of them.
Yeah. And
because he understands it, because he keeps winning.
With his job, it is way better. Look at Darius DeLong, who is a third grader, as they put it.
Yeah,
it's a quote unquote third grader. Yeah,
that's what I say, as they put it.
Yeah, as they put it.
Yeah, pay attention to me. Darius, and Darius does way better than most of these guys. He's spot on most of the time, and it's sad. So someone says here, I rather insults than violence being displayed. Hold on, Moses. I'm reading something. You have your moment. I rather insults than violence displayed by CDC, like with the kids of the university students. Could they have gone there and just start cussing each other and nobody get hurt? Right? The point we're making here is the cussing is
nobody
going back in the bush. Let's take this Maryland caller from 9874.
Yes, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, we can hear you. Your name?
Yes. My name is Arma, and I'm calling from the great state of Texas.
Oh, okay. All right.
I just had a quick input real quick about the representative. Yes. First thing I want to say, good evening to all three of you gentlemen. I hope you guys are having an outstanding evening.
Yeah, welcome, my brother.
The representative, people think he's actually insane or he has PTSD. As far as the PTSD is concerned, you don't have to be in a war be a rebel, all that. Just saying anything, just is like a car accident. Seeing somebody, being molested, all that things cause PTSD. So, I mean, that is actually out of the window. Now, the way he carries himself. I mean, everybody is different. I was in the military. I had a different leadership style. I'm pretty sure Dwalu he can attest to that. In the military, there's different leaders. Some are very outspoken. Some are very soft spoken. So, like I said, it's just who he is. But he has a lot of common sense. I'm just gonna put that way. He doesn't have all these degrees like you guys just said or mentioned, but he has a lot of common sense. And to me, to be honest with you, I think he has more common sense than the people that are actually in the government, that are actually a professor or lawyers, whatever the case may be. But the thing with the gay thing, Mr. That's his name, Mr. Sandy. Am I saying your name correct, sir? Mr.
Yeah,
Sandy?
yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Amar.
Okay. I don't know why he's upset because he said George Will was gay and all of that. I don't know Mr. Cummings. I'm not his fan, supporter. They go around all day on social media calling Mr. Cummings gay. You don't hear that man crying, complaining about it. He just moves on. Because like I said, at the end of the day, it's just part of politics. People just do things like that to get under your skin. And if George Will knows he's not gay, people shouldn't worry about that. And then he said something about the culture about Liberia. Like I said, man, today's the 21st century, man. This gay thing is taking over the world. It's everywhere. I've been called gay tons of times in the military. Oh, man, shut up, man. You're gay. I mean, all right, cool, whatever, Like I said, both of my parents are Liberians. They tell me about, gays and everything like that. But at the end of the day, they understand now that how, gays are today. They had a representative, Foco, that's his name. He was here in New York singing about gays. Nobody said anything to him about that. Nobody said anything. Doing the UNGA, he was in Manhattan singing, "We don't want gays, we don't want fags." He was singing it out there. People were recording. You don't do things like that, man. You don't take stuff like that lightly when it comes to the gay rights here. But as far as them calling George Weah gay, hey man, he knows he's not. Shouldn't worry about it. Shouldn't bother him at all.
I agree, Ahmed.
It's all part of this little politic thing, man. So I thank you guys for the time, and I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Amar.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman.
For having you. So listen, we have about 12 minutes left to wrap up because we said we'll be wrapping up at 9 o'clock. I think we've covered a lot of everything, and it's time for us to put the icing on the cake. Ansu kept asking you, Moses, and we'll give you the lead to start. What do you think Yeke Koluba should begin to do now, going forward in his communication style, if that has to change anyhow? And I'm not sure if Yeke going to even listen to you, because
no, he
be ready for Yeke to cost you up. Go ahead.
Volcano, as a public figure, I'm not bothered by that. I'd like to call a spade a spade. Yeke doesn't have to take my advice, but I'm saying that anyone who occupies the position that he Yeke Koluba occupies in terms of behaviors has to be above what? Reproached. Such person is supposed to have moral standing in the community. And people come here and try to justify that, yeah, foul language is appropriate. That's how he conveys his thoughts. That's not true. None of us on this talk show, and the very people who call in, when they talk to their families, they talk to their kids, they don't use foul languages.
You don't know, Moses, so just say
no. I'm speaking. Let me express
but don't
my
say
thought.
none of us.
What happens in most civilized society?
Okay.
We don't use foul languages to convey our thoughts. That's where I'm coming from. Okay. So my assumption is that when we communicate, we don't do that. I'm saying to Mr. Koluba that he's working very hard. Let him learn from our friend and brother, Darius DeLong, Yombri Kanga, Jonathan Sogbe in the Liberian Senate, and others. They disagree with the we administration. They disagree with some of the bad things that are happening in Liberia. They convey their thoughts by not using profanity. I want Mr. Koluba to stand up. I would like to encourage him to continue to champion the cause of the people. But I am not interested in him coming to tell us that whether George Weah is a bastard or not. I'm not interested in knowing whether Mr. George Weah has reportedly has a relationship with Mr. Kefranson of Spoon TV, that he's a gay and all of that. I'm not interested in that. I want his comments to be directed on policy issues, well articulated. As a leader, you don't make loose comments. Look at this. He come to say, well, there are plans or what for 2023 election to be rigged. And if that happens, they're going to go to the bush. That is not representative of a lawmaker, man. The position he occupies, it comes with a lot of responsibility. When you speak, you're speaking for a district. You're speaking for a country.
Let me make
You
a
don't
quick
make loose
correction.
comments.
Let me make a quick correction. He didn't say
Yeah.
that they would go to the bush. He said those who rig the elections will be pushed to the bush.
Yeah, but
Is
it
that
is
is that is
implied.
that is that not a
It is
fair
implied.
statement?
It is
Is that
implied. It
is
is
that not a
implied that
fair
if
statement,
anyone
Moses?
rigs, it is implied that if anyone reportedly rigs the election come 2023, they will go to the
We'll push you
bush.
to the bush because
Yeah, we'll
you
push
can't
you to the
take power.
bush. We'll go to the bush. They mean almost the same thing. And as a
All right.
lawmaker,
So you
such
don't know.
comments should not be
Let
emanating.
Ansu
So I
put
would
his
like to wrap up again by saying that Mr. Cordoba, I'm kindly appealing to you and other officials of the Liberian government that are fond of using foul language in conveying their thoughts, that they have to be honorable at all times. That's my position. Thank you.
All right, Ansu.
Look, let me say this.
Mhm.
I will actually, if I knew Yeke personally, I will ask him to increase his level of aggression towards the government because what we are facing in the country is a higher degree of seriousness. But I will agree with Mr. Sandy that he should clean up the language to as much as he can, but increase the level of aggression. Because what should anger us more is not the little profanity Yeke uses every now and then. What should anger us more is the level of teenage prostitution in the country. That should anger us more. What should anger us more is the level of injustice in the country. What should anger us more is the higher degree of maternal mortality rate in the country. Okay, childhood deaths in the country, where the average 18-year-old in Liberia is only having 2.2 years of education. That's what should anger us more, not the little profanity towards the president that refuses to address the plight of the people. That's where our anger should be. And I hope Honorable Yeke increases this aggression because this government does not understand subtleties. This government only understands aggression. And we need to do more to live this society. Yeke is being pushed into a position that he must bounce back. And when he bounces back, and we talk about how he approaches things, when his family and safety is being jeopardized by the very government that should be protecting it. We have work to do. And we all need to help with Yeke to push that. Thank you so much, guys.
So let me come in quick. This country, America, is the epic center of freedom of speech. We all had a president here just a few years ago in Donald Trump who was wildly insulted by newscasters and magazines, reporters, and everywhere. And he came back and he did what he had to do to stand the fire that was coming to him. But there was no point where people were being condemned that, oh, you can't talk this way. So where is that coming from now when Liberia is a part of the global community and we said that we've lived freedom of speech? And I want to applaud President Weah here tonight. President Weah, if I've not said anything as important on this show tonight, I want to applaud you for your tolerance for freedom of speech. So Moses, if Weah is not pissed off, if Weah is not fighting for himself, why are you? And I'm not saying answer. I'm not saying answer. You've done your part. I'm just saying this is how I'm closing on my point.
But that's
Right,
a question
Ansu?
you posing. I
No,
need
no,
an
I'm
answer.
just saying. I'm just saying why you? Because honestly, what Yeke is doing, he didn't just come out of the clear blue sky to do it. There are triggers that led Yeke down this road. And what Yeke is saying that if the president can desecrate the highest office of the land, then how much more about his legislative position? How much more about that, if that's what you want to say? If the house itself is desecrated to the point that nothing seems to come out of this house that makes sense in the interest of the Liberian people. Bunch of men who just only care about themselves. Just the other day, they were trying to create a retirement benefit to their own likings, their own well-being, neglecting for the people. And Yeke was one of the people who said, we can't do this. And if these people are not conforming to the norms for which our country was built upon, and everything has gotten devalued to the point where the executive branch, the legislative branch, the judiciary branch of government have become compromised. So what do you think, Moses? How sane can Yeke be? How professional can Yeke be in his conversations? Yeke can flip tomorrow and become that model citizen if the government does what it should do for the people, by the people, and of the people. But if this government continue to give a damn about the people and does what it wants to do and not even agree to what the judiciary branch puts forth to them for implementation and they sweep it to the side, then of course you'll find more radicals than Yeke Koluba. And I'm telling you, this is just the beginning. There will be other radicals who will find this style of communication to wake the government up. This government needs to be responsive. Here we have a rice crisis. And again, Yeke may just be one in the anomaly of the situation. So this is how I rest my case. Everything Yeke is doing is predicated on what is happening in the branches of government. Everything he's doing. The president is of no exception to how he leads the country. He may not be using profanity all over the place, but he's taking the office of the presidency for a joke. For a joke. He's making statements that would piss the Liberian people off, like in Monrovia to Miami. Telling the people rice is in the warehouse, plenty of rice in the country. So, Moses, I can give you a meaning to say what you want to say, but Yeke is being fueled. His behavior is being fueled. His language may not be what you expect, what many expect, what I expect, but sometimes, again, the Liberian people, the level of understanding, the level of acceptance is why Yeke is doing this so that they can understand where he stands.
Yeah, so I would like to close by borrowing from you that the office Yeke Koluba occupies, the use of profanity on a consistent basis is desecrating that position. It's desecrating the status that he holds in government. The use of profanity should not be the way of conveying his thoughts. Yes, I agree with everything that you guys said. He's being marginalized, he's being mistreated, but that does not in any way justify that when he talks to people, when he speaks to reporters, everything we hear from him is what? Profanities. That's not an honorable thing to do. I want my 10-year-old to listen to a lawmaker that will convey his or her sentiments appropriately without the use of profanity. Let Mr. Koluba give his current style of communication a second thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Moses. We want to thank everyone who came in here tonight. Kwashi Hayes. Matter of fact, by God's grace, Janet Massaquoi, thank you so much for coming. We will be bringing the Honorable Senator of Grand Bassa County this Friday, Honorable Yumbly Conga Lawrence, here on the show tonight. We'll be covering an array of issues in the country. And let's hear from a sane opposition who I believe will be engaged with you guys. So again, we will be bringing in Senator Yumbly Conga Lawrence on the show. We were able to make this happen, Moses, and so we look forward to her being here with us. And following that, on Tuesday next week, we'll be bringing the former labor minister, uh, uh, public works minister, and lawyer and civil rights advocates, Honorable Samuel Kofi Woods. So we have two important guests for Friday, Yumbly Kanga Lawrence, and following that on Tuesday, Honorable Samuel Kofi Woods. So we want you to share the link, spread the word. We'll be discussing. He said that Liberia is sick, is in peril, and so he's gonna come here and have conversation with us, and we hopefully hope that you guys will join us to engage Mr. Woods and Madam Kanka Lawrence on Friday and Tuesday respectively. Thank you so much, Thomas Awaji, for sharing with us here tonight. It was great conversation. Sarve Duyi, Arma Freeman, Mia Johnson, Facebook user Ni Ajay, uh, Jenna Masakwe. There was a lot of you, Othello Dillon, and everyone who showed up. Comfort Abu, it was good. You said something about increase the volume, Yeke. You are the best. Comfort said respect is two-way. It's a two-way street, actually. Let the CDC government respect Honorable Yeke and he will return the same. Period. So a lot of people see Yeke as doing what he's doing because of the treatment he's getting. But I agree with you, Moses. He needs to polish a little bit of how he communicates some stuff. Not every day he gotta go crazy. But again, like I said, when we are beats the drum, he will beat the salsa. So I guess that's what it is. But thank you all for
Yeah.
showing up here tonight. It was a great conversation. We'll be back here Friday again, as I said. Watch out for the promo. We'll be bringing Honorable Yumbly Kanga Lawrence here
Great show.
the issues room. Thank
Yes,
you.
great show. It was,
Good night,
man.
Good night, everyone.
A great show, Volcano. It was a pleasure, man. Enjoy evening. And
Good night.
guys, we see you back on Friday. Thank you.
Thank you.